Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and make a video for chapter 5 so that everyone will understand how to do the reflexives work and all of that. Okay, so chapter 5 starts with the vocabulary for the house, like la sala, el comedor, la cocina, el dormitorio, el baño. Don't forget the ñ. It's pronounced like an N and a Y in English. So el baño, la bañera, el sótano, el techo, and then los quehaceres. And then with this one, with hay mucho trabajo en casa, you do have to do the activity in present progressive. I did review present progressive some in the unit or chapter 4 video. I'll put some of it here too. So present progressive is what you're doing right now. Okay, and you do have to use estar. So you have to use estoy, estás, él, ella, usted, or one name. Está, nosotros, or anything. Y yo is estamos. Stuck. Ellos, ellas, ustedes, two names, or anything plural. Like mis amigos. Están. So you have to do that first. Okay, and then if the second verb, like hablar, it ends in AR, you take off the AR. And for everyone, then for AR verbs, what you would add ando. So hablando. So like estoy hablando. Estás hablando. Está hablando. Estamos hablando. Estáis hablando. I didn't put estáis on there. And están hablando. Okay. If it's ER and IR, like comer or vivir, you take off the ER and you take off the IR, and then you add yendo. So comer becomes comiendo, and vivir becomes viviendo. Okay, like estoy comiendo, estás comiendo, está comiendo, estamos comiendo, están comiendo. Estoy viviendo, estás viviendo, está viviendo, estamos viviendo, están viviendo. And you do have some irregulars that went over: leer, leyendo, dormir, durmiendo, creer, to believe, creyendo. Okay, so in that activity, you do have to do that one in present progressive. The one that said hay mucho trabajo en casa. Okay. And then I've had several questions about reflexive verbs, so I wanted to come on and explain these. Okay, reflexive means like it's anything done to oneself. Okay. And so if the verb ends in say, then that means it is a reflexive verb. What goes before it is called the reflexive pronoun. Okay, so the reflexive pronouns are not optional. You have to put them in. So for yo, it is me. For tú, it is te. For él, ella, usted, or one name, it is se. For nosotros, it is nos. Vosotros is os. And ellos, ellas, ustedes is also se. Notice that él, ella, ustedes say, and ellos, ellas, ustedes is also se. Okay. Then, so if you take off the arse here, or you conjugate, which is what you have to do. Then after that, then you add your endings. Ducharse is an AR verb. So then you would add your O, has, a, hamos, ais, an. And a couple of people had emailed me, and you were just leaving the AR on, or adding your ending to the end of the AR, but you do have to take off that AR. Okay. So if you have like necesito preparar, you do have to just leave the verb in the infinitive. But with that, then the pronoun still changes. Okay, or you can put the pronoun before the first verb. Okay. So acostarse, write down which one's in there. Acostarse, it's O-D-U-E, so I'll conjugate that one for you and give you an example, show you how to do it. Bañarse, cepillarse, these are all just normal AR reflexive verbs. Despertarse is E to IR. Lavarse, levantarse, maquillarse, peinarse, they're all regular AR reflexive verbs. Ponerse has a change in the yo. Prepararse, quitarse, secarse, and then sentarse is E to IE, and vestirse is E to I. Let's see dormirse on there, but I'll go ahead and tell you about dormirse. Okay. So for example, I'll do a lot. I will do the shape. Okay, so it becomes, you take off the arse. Okay, and I'll do the conjugation chart right here. Yo to one name, anything like mi amigo. Then up here, nosotros, anything y yo, vosotros, anything y tú, or ellos, ellas, ustedes, and anything plural. Anything plural that doesn't have like EO in it. Okay, so afeitarse, you take off the arse. Then, sorry. For yo, it'll be me afeito. For tú, te afeitas. Él, usted, one name, something singular like mi amigo, se afeita. Nosotros will be nos afeitamos. Vosotros os afeitáis. And then ellos, ellas, ustedes, or anything plural like mis amigos, or las chicas, or two names, se afeitan. And while like the yo and the two, those are optional really on this. The may, the te, the say, they are not. Okay, despertarse is E to IE stem changer. So if you take off the arse, remember that your stem is anything left. So desperta, despert. Okay. If there are two E's in the stem, you stem change the second E. So you have, and then it becomes me despierto, te despiertas, because it's AR, se despierta, Nos despertamos. Os despertáis. And say despiertan. Remember, some teachers will call these boot verbs because, and I'm not a good artist, but if you draw a line around the ones that change, it kind of looks like a boot. That's just not a very good drawing of the boot. Okay. And then sentarse, to sit down, is also E to IE and an AR verb. So you'll take off the arse, and then that E that is left is what you'll change, and the stem changes. Me siento, te sientas, se sienta. Oops. And then remember, not in nosotros, you don't stem change. Nos sentamos, os sentáis, and then say sientan. It's a little bit small. Okay. You can still see those pronouns. And then acostarse, to lie down, is O to UE. So may, and of course you take off your arse. Me acuesto, te acuestas. So what you're left with right here, the acost, that's your stem, and it's an O to UE. So the O goes to UE. Cuestas, se acuesta. It does not stem change in nosotros. Nos acostamos. Os acostáis. And say acuestan. Okay. And then ponerse is an ER verb, so it'll have ER endings. Ponerse, to put on, and just poner is to place. So it will have your ER endings. Once you take off the erse. Remember that yo poner is pongo. So it's me pongo. And then you go back to your normal. Te pones, se pone, nos ponemos, vos pones, and se pone. Okay, so if it's any ER verb that has a reflexive that has that say on the end, then it also will have your O, ace, a, amos, ace, ain endings. Okay, vestirse is, before I do vestirse, I'm going to do dormirse. It wasn't on the list, but to fall asleep, go to bed. There's a real popular one. Dormirse is an IR verb. So you'll take off the irse, and dor is what is left. And we've done dormir before. So dormirse, me duermo, te duermes, se duerme. Remember your IR endings. Nos dormimos. You don't stem change in nosotros and vosotros. Os dormís. And then say duermen. Okay, and then your last one, vestirse, to get dressed. It is E to I. Okay, so vestirse, you take off your irse before you add your reflexive pronoun or your ending, and based is your stem, so it becomes me visto, te vistes, se viste, nos vestimos. Remember, you don't stem change in nosotros. Os vestis, and se visten. Okay. Okay, go back to the page. You have your vocabulario. Soap is pronounced jabón. Towel, toalla. Maquillaje, cepillo. Okay. This has your, oh, on this one you have to decide which pronoun, reflexive, me, te, se, nos, os, and se. This is logical and illogical. Then where you put it. You match the questions. Here are some more reflexive verbs. There's the irse. Irse is to leave, go away. We've done ir, which is just to go. So it's still me voy, te vas, se va, nos vamos, os vais, se van. Reírse is e to I, so it's pronounced me río, te ríes, se ríe, nos reímos, os reís, se ríen. And this is what it was talking about earlier, so I'll kind of touch on this a little more now. So with verbs like voy a, or tengo que, or me gusta, when you don't conjugate the next verb, you still don't really conjugate it, so you're going to leave on the IR or the AR, but you do have to put your reflexive pronoun. And then, or you can put the reflexive pronoun before the first conjugated verb. This talks about like reciprocals when it's each other. Then that uses reflexive verbs as well. So like mis padres y yo nos llamamos mucho. We call each other a lot. Okay. And then for here, that's with the reflexives. And okay, so the reflex, this is the stem changers. I kind of showed you how to do that with reflexives. Maybe next semester I'll put this lesson first. So stem changers means that it changes anything in the stem, which is not your AR, ER, and IR. It changes. So these O to UE stem changers go O and then the UE. Duermo, duermes, duerme. It doesn't in nosotros, doesn't stem change dormimos, dormis, and duermen. And then here are some O to UE. And then the only one that in the Spanish language that is U to UE is jugar. So yo juego, tú juegas, él, ella, usted juega, nosotros jugamos, vosotros jugáis, and ellos, ellas, ustedes juegan. This says that it's the vowel closest to the AR, ER, and IR, or I say it's also the second vowel in the stem. Okay, so querer, and then here are some E to IE. Quiero, quieres, quiere, queremos, queréis, quieren. And then here are what they mean. So if it's AR, it would have your AR endings. Cierro, cierras, cierra, cerramos, cierran. So for example, cerrar, perder, and preferir. Okay, so you'll take off your AR, ER, and IR. And then you will still conjugate it like an AR, ER, and IR verb, but you will do your stem change. So for cerrar, cierro, cierras, cierra. It doesn't change in nosotros, doesn't stem change. Cerramos or vosotros, cerráis, and cierran. Okay, and remember that, see if this boot will look any better. Kind of, okay. And then notice, don't forget you have O for yo, as for two, ella y usted, their one name is a, nosotros, whoops. Looks like a bigger boot. So everything outside of the boot is not stem change. Cerráis and cierran. No. See if I get rid of it. Okay, so it has your AR verbs. And then you're changing E to IE. And then perder is pierdo, pierdes, because it's a ER verb. Pierde, perdemos, perdes, and pierden. So it does have O, es, a, hemos, es, ein. Okay, and then it's E to IE. I like to say, because I don't usually teach vosotros, when I do it in high school, teach in high school and middle school. Don't usually do vosotros, so I like to say E to IE except in we, and O to UE except in we. E to I stem changers are the same way, that it just doesn't rhyme. And then preferir. Okay, you take off the IR, then it does have two E's in the stem. So, or the vowel that's right beside the ER ending, IR ending, prefiero, prefieres, prefiere. It's IR, so it does have to say preferimos. IR, preferís, and prefieren. Okay. And then almorzar. I'm gonna do contar. Shorter, contar. Volver, dormir, or your O to UE, and their AR, ER, and IR verbs. So the O goes to UE, except for we and vosotros. So O to UE. So goes yo cuento, tú cuentas, él usted cuenta. Nosotros contamos, vosotros contáis, and ellos ustedes cuentan. Okay, so notice it has to match the AR endings. Vamos, an, and then volver will have your ER endings. So vuelvo, vuelves, vuelve, volvemos, volvéis, and vuelven. Okay, and then dormir is IR, duermo, duermes, duerme, dormimos, dormís, and duermen. Okay, and don't forget about those endings, o, es, a, imos, is, en. Okay. And then E to I, it's still stem change. The E to I verbs are all IR. So it's o, es, a, imos, ein. So that's your o, es, a, imos, is, ein. And then the E goes to I. Pido, pides, pide, pedimos, pedis, piden. Repetir does have two E's in the stem. We change that second E. Seguir drops the U in yo, or it would have a different sound. So it is S-I-G-O, sigo. And then, oh, here it is. And yo sigo, tú sigues, él, usted sigue, nosotros seguimos, vosotros seguís, and ellos, ustedes siguen. Reír is a stem changer, and this is what I talked about earlier, and it's also reflexive. Me río, te ríes, se ríe, nos reímos, os reís, and se ríen. Okay, so here you have to match the meanings with the sentences, or the columns with the sentences, to make them logical. Then you have to sort them if it is AR or ODUE, E to IE, and E to I. Then you had to conjugate them, and La Familia González. So you have contar, so you have to do cuenta. You have to conjugate it. Okay. And then adverbs, they modify a verb. A lot of times in English, they end in ly. To tell like quickly, difficultly, slowly, that kind of thing. In English or in Spanish, you usually add mente. If the adjective ends in o, then you change it to an a before adding the mente. So lento meaning slow, then becomes lentamente. Rápido becomes rápidamente. The other ones you just add mente, directo, directamente. And then here are some other adverbs that don't end in mente, where you don't have to change them or anything. Don't know what siempre is always. Okay. And then, so you're saying like la abuela and lento, so you have to say lentamente. And then using the other adverbs, and then your cultural lessons and your listening and your oral assignment and all that. Okay, let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.